Hello, I am Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz. Today is April 25, 2015, 11:31 p.m. Birmingham. Topic, is there a bottomless pit? Yes, there is. And take the earth, and through the middle of the earth is about 7,900 miles, 8,000 miles, and the circumference is 25,000 miles roughly. This is an average. There's points or places it's a little bit wider, and but as an average, 25,000 miles around and 8,000 miles through the middle. And but when you start going down, and it's like 3,960 miles to the center. How far from that side to that point will you get to a gravity neutral zone when you're not falling down and you're not being pushed out? There's a neutral zone there. And so if you would take, and some people estimated at some of these volcanoes that have these giant lava fields like under Wyoming, for example, that could go as deep as 40 miles. And I'm thinking that it could go a lot deeper than 40 miles. I don't mean a cauldron as in Wyoming. I just mean in general. But there's a place within the earth below the crust and the mantle that is a neutral zone. This is a spot in Revelations chapter 9. In several verses in chapter 9 talks about the bottomless pit, the endless smoke, and the demons will be there. And then in the end, the final end, Satan will be bound to the hottest and the darkest of the bottomless pit. So the bottomless pit itself probably has about 3 levels. And if you're walking down say you're out in the desert and you're walking straight, you don't see the circumference, okay? You walk straight. You never stop walking straight. And that's the same as if you're in the earth falling, you're falling around, but yet it's like you're falling straight down all the time. And that's why it's called the bottomless pit. So there may be a honeycomb type space of 40 miles down, maybe 1,000 miles down. I don't know. And it may be 100 miles wide or maybe 1,000 miles wide. Nobody knows. But there's a point of where you'll have the sensation of you're falling down, but you're just never getting to the bottom. That's when you're falling like this and you're under the earth. This is where Satan's going to be. This is where the demons will be. And this is where the fallen angels will be. Now, they're already in judgment, but no one knows specifically which part of judgment they're in. I believe in the final judgment, at the great white throne judgment, they'll go into a final place which is much worse than where they are today. And Satan himself will be released. He won't be in the worst place for him yet, not for 1,000 years. At the end of that 1,000 years, then he will be placed. He will be put in, and he will never come out. It will be like it is sealed, and he has no way out. Thank goodness for that. But also thank goodness that our God is our God, and he's a good God, and he will put away anything that's evil forever and ever. So we don't ever have to worry about him coming back, because he won't. And we won't have a window that we can look at to see him. You know, there's going to be no reminders and stuff like this. That these things will be erased from our memories. We will never have known of any of this that we're going through when we get to heaven at the end of that 1,000 years. But the Christians, the people who are saved, are going to be judged at the Bema seat. The others will be judged at the great white throne judgment. That's one you don't want to go to. And I'd rather be judged at the seat of Christ, so that if I have a crown coming, I can give it to him. And but anyway, the bottomless pit is the neutral zone, and it's probably going to be in 3 levels, 3 stages, 3 heat ranges, and we don't know. No one knows what all happens there. We know that it's eternal torture, never ends. And someone said those who died in their sins, that have a horrible fear of spiders, they'll be eaten by spiders all the time, but yet they won't die. They'll have that horrible fear and sensation of being eaten by spiders all the time. Can you imagine that? Lord, I can't. But anyway, bottomless pit, yes. And it will be inside this earth. No one knows how far below our feet it will be, but I know it will be farther enough. And too far is not far enough for me to get away from that kind of all that sin. And so read Revelations chapter 9, and it will tell you a lot about that. And there's a lot of studies too that can probably explain to you just what we're talking about here. Anyway, Jody Wolf, Expoz.